Hey guys, it is Abby Vlogs here. Sorry if my camera's tilted. There we go. That should be better. Hopefully you guys can hear me. I am just waiting on my friend to come in because he's gonna listen on his earbuds because he's at work. So I'm just waiting on him. So I hope he gets here. So I hope he gets in. Lucas. Lucas Pocus. I can share my screen now on YouTube. It's cool. I don't have to use that other thing. I can share my screen now. That's so cool. Now whenever I want to share my screen, I can just hit this little button. I didn't know I could do that. Just waiting on Lucas. Well, I might as well get everything set. Okay. Lucas. Okay, he's on Discord, which means he should be getting on soon. I hope he gets on soon. Lucas. Ah, Lucas, you're here. Hi. So, first thing I want to explain is where I've been. As the title of the video, the stream rather. I'm gonna be going through 3 topics. Where I've been, days 1 to 3 of my advent calendars, because I have 4 advent calendars, and reading chapters 11 and 12, which chapter 11 is called Quidditch, and chapter 12 is called The Mirror of Erised from Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. So, where I've been, as you can see, new setting. I'm in my new room. I will do a room tour in a separate stream. I want to do it for a stream where you will actually be free, not at work, so that way you can actually look at my new room. But you can see I'm in a new setting. I'm in my new room. So, when are your days off again? I forget because it's been a while since we've talked. It's been like 6 months since I've done a stream. So, when are you off again? So that way I know when to do a stream. But yeah, I'm Saturday. I can try to do Saturday. Hopefully. I'll hopefully be able to do Saturday. So, Saturday will be a room tour. But yes, I'm in my new room, which is awesome. And I love it. I love this new room. I have my privacy because I have a door now, finally. I finally have a door that I can have. Thank you. It is nice. It's smaller than my old room, but I have made all of my crap fit in here, and I don't know how I did it. I don't know how I accomplished it. But yes, I finally have a door, which is amazing. I have my privacy. I finally have the privacy that I've always wanted, and I've always wanted my privacy. Yeah, it was magic that I got all of my crap in here. It was like magic. I went, "Oh, man." Yes, privacy is everything. Now that you know where I've been for the past 6 months, um, well, actually, I do wanna show you one thing in my room, something that took me a month, I believe a month and a half to do, and that is that beauty right there, my desk. I built this beauty a bit on my own and a good bit with my dad. I got a new desk and it costed me a pretty penny too. With with tax, it costed me $115. Yes, this is a better desk than my old one because my old one was passed down from my sisters. So this desk finally feels like it's mine and mine alone. And I love my new desk. My new desk is nice. It goes well with my room. And yeah, a new desk. And hopefully, I am hoping by next year, sometime, maybe the year after, I'm going to be repainting my room. Hopefully, by next fall or the fall after, depending on money issues. I'm going to be painting my room Slytherin colors because I like the the Slytherin colors, which is green and silver, because I like the more dark aesthetic because it'll go well with my desk. It'll go well with some of my furniture that's in here, like that, like what you see behind me. That's a new TV stand that we got at Goodwill for $8, legitimately. And I'm gonna be painting like one wall green, one wall silver, one wall green, one wall silver. You get the point. Plus, I like the darkness because I still haven't put up my Christmas tree, which I'm hoping to do sometime this week. I'm hoping. I'm hoping to put it up this sometime this week. As you can also probably see behind me, it's easier to show you stuff that's behind me than in my room uh, tour on Saturday. That shoe rack. Yeah, Goodwill has a lot of good stuff. That shoe rack. I bought that over at Walmart, just like I bought my desk over at Walmart. I put that together by myself. And that was a little iffy to put together, but I love it. It holds all of my shoes. Legit, you can't even see all my shoes. Hold on. I forgot this was like freaking backwards. YouTube crap was backwards. But yeah, there's all of my shoes on that shoe rack. Yeah, I got a lot of shoes. Let's see, I got a pair of Bear Paw boots, a pair of Uggs, a pair of Bear Paw, like, they're almost like boots, but they're more like shoe boots. I got a pair of, oh, I don't know what brand they are, but I got 2 pairs of tennis shoes, a pair of flats, a pair of sandals, a pair of flip flops, and 2 pairs of slippers. And then I have my blankets on the lower half because I want my blankets to be easy to grab just in case. But these are the shoe. Oh, these are the Blondie, the Blonda Blondo. Blondo shoes that I used for my Henry costume, Henry Emily costume last year. And no, I didn't dress up this year because I had so much going on and I was still moving into my room. So, yeah. Oh, come on, get back in there. But yeah, that's where I've been basically setting up my new room, getting everything in here, and just making sure everything was good. Plus, I had been busy on Thursday nights late. Uh, yeah, I also have new pajama pants. I've been on a kick with something with an animal lately, and I just think they're adorable. Capybaras. And I have capybara PJ pants that I had gone down in my work. Same style, different colors. For me, I have to have the same color, different styles because I like glasses that bring out my eyes. Yes, I love capybaras. They're also known as a water hog because they love water. I actually have a handmade ornament that I got off of somebody. Let me grab it. I have been on a kick with capybaras. They are adorable. Here's the handmade ornament. I think this is like so cute. Capybaras have been one of my capybaras have been my favorite animal late as of late. Like even my room is like I don't know if you saw it on my desk, but I have a capybara pencil sharpener and I have a capybara sticky note holder. So I've been on a kick with capybaras lately. Okay, now that that topic is done, time to get in my days 1 to 3 advent calendars. They are freaking adorable. Time to get into my days 1 to 3 advent calendars. I had gotten 4 advent calendars this year, which is more than last year. I have gotten a mini brands one, which I got over at my work for $15. I got a Harry Potter one over at Sam's Club, I think for 20. I can't remember if it was 15 or 20. But and I got a Disney Munchlings and a Disney Doorables uh advent calendars. They were both $20 over at Walmart. So in day 1, I got Mentos fruit from my mini brands. I got Luca from the movie Luca, which I haven't seen yet. I have not seen that movie yet. It is adorable. I got a Cool Mint candy bonbon Mickey. Yeah, Luca. I haven't seen Luca yet. Yeah, I got Cool Mint candy Mickey Mouse from my Disney Munchlings. I've been on a kick with collecting these because they actually smell really good. They actually because they're scented, so they actually smell really good. And in my Harry Potter one, I got Harry Potter: The Ghost of Hogwarts, which has Nearly Headless Nick, the Bloody Baron, the Fat Friar, the Grey Lady, Moaning Myrtle, and Peeves. So that was in day one. In day two, I got two napkins as accessories in the Disney Munchlings. I got a 30s Minnie Mouse from my Disney Doorables. I got dry shampoo from my Mini Brands. And I got two Ronald Weasley sweater paper clips. And they're actually really nice. I always look forward to getting the Harry Potter ones every year because they are freaking cool. They are so freaking cool. I couldn't get a Funko one this year because all the ones that I looked at were over at Target and they're freaking expensive. I don't understand why Target has to have stuff so expensive there, especially like advent calendars. Because their advent calendars there are like $40, $50, like 40 to $50. They are. I wish I had the money this year to get one, but I just couldn't. Not this year, because I've been really tight on money. But next year I'll have more money because next year I'm getting everybody in my family gift cards. Oh, and for your gift, I might I had gotten a Five Nights at Freddy's one because I liked the Five Nights at Freddy's one that one year. For your gift, I might send it after Christmas, like January. I might send it in January because I am gonna be really tight on money for a couple weeks until after Christmas. So you might not be getting your Christmas present until January, so it might be a little late. I won't. I just wish I had the money to actually send it to you before Christmas. That way you would get it before Christmas. But don't worry. I'm not gonna worry too much about it. Uh, you'll get it when you get it. And I always message you on Discord saying when your thing is gonna get there. Yeah, especially the day after Christmas, because the day after Christmas, my family and I go to the mall every single year. So that makes it really hard on me with money-wise. Plus, it doesn't help that I have freaking student loans to deal with. I My family and I always like hope for the lottery for us to win the lottery because I have like 22,000. Hold on, let me see if I can pull it up on my Sally Mae because I have Sally Mae as my student loan stuff. Yeah, student loans suck. But mine was three separate loans because I had to redo classes. Plus, it didn't help. Yeah, we would, my family and I would we would pay off my student loans and just donate to our church and try to help people. But my current student loans, the full total without breaking it down into three separate loans, the full total is if it loads, that is how much I have to pay off. But since mine is broken down into three separate loans, my three separate loans consist of $88.02 a month, $159.21 a month, and $58.14 a month, which comes to the total of $305.37 a month. Yeah, that is a ton of money. Yeah, student loans are tough. At some points when I am paying my student loans or trying to pay my student loans, sometimes I know I shouldn't think this way because I'm the first one to actually go to college and complete it in my entire family. Sometimes I regret going to college, but in a way, I am glad I went to college because I want to achieve my goal of opening up my own small business. So, yeah, that is how my student loans are currently. It exactly, that exactly. But the thing is, sometimes I wish they would cancel my student loans because I don't know if you read it on the news or saw it on the news, but my college shut down back in August. I don't know if you saw that on the news. My college shut down back in August. I think it was August. Yeah, they shut down back in August because they weren't teaching the kids right or something along that matter. There's freaking full articles of it of PTC like closing down. I think they closed down in August. I can't remember if it was July or August. But yeah, my school shut down, which I am glad I graduated about a few years ago. No, a year ago. Sorry. Sometimes I wish they would cancel my student loans because my school shut down because that is going to my college. The college that shut down. I don't know why. I'm paying. Yeah, I am so glad I graduated before it shut down, a whole year before it shut down. But I don't understand why I am paying student loans for a school that shut down. I have no idea why I am paying for something for a college that shut down. It makes no logical sense to pay. Yeah, it makes no logical sense. In all honesty, if I'm telling you the truth, us students that have already graduated like a year or 2 years ago, ones who have already started paying student loans, should get their money back because they are paying for a college that shut down. And that makes no sense in any matter. That makes no sense at all. Exactly. We should get that money back. I didn't get to tell you this because I was busy months ago, but back in April, back during my birthday, um, I don't know if I made a stream during my birthday. I don't remember, honestly. But that day, I, did I tell you in April that my grandfather gave me 8 grand for my birthday? I don't know if I said, I don't know if I told you that or not. 2 grand of that went to my college to pay for 6 months of my student loans so that I wouldn't have to worry for the next few months. 2 grand of that went to college. That is a lot of money. Society is all backwards and screwed up. definitely. Now, off this college bull crap because I'm just gonna get myself worked up over this. Back to day 3 of my advent calendars, which I opened up today, this morning, because I couldn't wait. In my mini brands, I have gotten Frosted Flakes. They used to be my favorite cereal when I was younger. I used to love Frosted Flakes. And for some reason, I always have to have my cereal dry because I cannot eat it with milk because I don't like milk. They are great. They are delicious. I've had those Fruit Loops, nah, 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 cinnamon toast crunch, honey smacks. Can't remember which other ones I've had. I think those are the only ones that I remember having. Oh yeah, and I also tried the crumble cookie cereal. The crumble cookie cereal was okay. It was just sweet. Too sweet for me. But they are coming out with a new. Oh, yeah, and Lucky Charms. I've had Lucky Charms too. The cereal that I'm waiting for to come out is the Squishmallow cereal because that is supposed to be like Lucky Charms. Because it has the cereal, it has the marshmallows. So yeah, I'm excited for the. Yeah, some cereals tend to be really sweet. But lately, I've been on a kick with Pop Tarts. I got back into the Pop Tart phase. And I've been eating the chocolatey chip pancake Pop Tarts. Those are so good. And I eat them just right out of the package. I don't heat them up because I don't need to. Brown sugar used to be my favorite, and then it was s'mores, and then it was something else. I can't remember which one it was. And then it was back to s'mores, and then I had the chocolatey chip pancake ones. Those are good. The new ones are also really good. The apple turnover. The apple turnover ones are really good. Yeah, the apple turnover Pop Tart is really good. We have a box of them here at home. So yeah. The chocolate fudge, that was it. Chocolate fudge was good. I I liked the I knew it was something with chocolate, but I couldn't remember which one it was. Strawberry, I'm not a huge fan of strawberry. The only thing I had strawberry was I used to get these little mini filled pancake bites. One was chocolate, one was strawberry. The strawberry ones were actually really, really good. I would eat 3 of them a day. Every morning, 3 or 4 of them a day in the morning, call it done for breakfast. Yeah, I normally don't like strawberry either. But yeah, I've been on a huge kick with Pop Tarts lately. You should try the chocolatey chip pancake ones. They are really good. They actually taste like you're eating a chocolate chip pancake. So those are actually delicious. Um, they have they have they have big boxes down at Walmart for like 4 something, I think. I can't remember right. Oh, and shop and if you have a shop and save around you, they have the small boxes. But yeah, they are freaking delicious. I love them. They are freaking good. Oh, I didn't know you had a mayor in Kroger near you. We don't have any of those here in Pennsylvania. Wish we did. Okay. The other things that I got in my advent calendar before I forget, I got a Harry Potter pen, which has Hedwig and letters and the Sorting Hat on it, and it looks like it's a pretty decent pen too. So that's actually nice. I just don't like that it's opened on this side, but that is a-okay. Yeah, it is a pretty pen. I This has to be actually one of my favorite pens. In my Doorables one, I got stickers, which this comes with 4 stickers in the advent calendar, so that's one of the stickers. Yeah, Vanellope. And then in my, Munchlings, I got mint ice cream cone Patch. Isn't he just adorable? He is, like, so cute. And it actually does smell like mint. Yeah, I really like these Munchlings because they're, like, so adorable. You can get the mini duos pack over at Walmart. I don't know if they have them anywhere, the mini packs anywhere else. I know they have them at Walmart and I think at Target. And they also have them at a Five Below. I forgot we started selling them too. I forgot about that. I completely forgot about Five Below selling those. But yeah, I do like the Munchlings. The Munchlings are actually really nice. Yeah, Munchlings has or Five Below has Munchlings. I was about to say Munchlings has Five Below. I am not awake. I've been up for hours. And now I'm reading Harry Potter. And I'm already almost 39 minutes into the stream and it is 7:34 currently. So, let's get to reading. Chapter 11: Quidditch. As they entered November, the weather turned very cold. The mountains around the school became icy gray and the lake like chilled steel. Every morning the ground was covered in frost. Hagrid could be seen from the upstairs windows, the frosting broomsticks on the Quidditch field, bundled up in a long moleskin overcoat, rabbit fur gloves, and enormous beaver skin boots. The Quidditch season had begun. On Saturday, Harry would be playing in his first match after weeks of training, Gryffindor versus Slytherin. If Gryffindor won, they would move up into second place in the house championship. Hardly anyone had seen Harry play because Wood had decided that, as their secret weapon, Harry should be kept, well, secret. But the news that he was playing secret had leaked out somehow, and Harry didn't know which was worse. People telling him he'd be brilliant, or people telling him they'd be running around underneath him holding a mattress. It was really lucky that Harry now had Hermione as a friend. He didn't know how he'd have gotten through all his homework without her. With what with all the last minute Quidditch practice Wood was making them do. She had also lent him Quidditch Through the Ages, which turned out to be a very interesting read. Harry learned that there were 700 ways of committing a Quidditch foul and that all of them had happened during a World Cup match in 1473. that Seekers were usually the smallest and fastest players, and that most serious Quidditch accidents seemed to happen to them. Snape's face was twisted with fury as he dropped his robes quickly to hide his leg. Harry gulped. I just wondered if I could have my book back. Get out! Out! Harry left before Snape could take any more points from Gryffindor. He sprinted back upstairs. Did you get it? Ron asked as Harry joined them. What's the matter? In a low whisper, Harry told them what he'd seen. You know what this means, he finished. He tried to get past that three-headed dog at Halloween. That's where he was going. That's where he was going when we saw him. He's after whatever it's guarding. And I'd bet my broomstick he let that troll in to make a diversion. Hermione's eyes were wide. No, he wouldn't, she said. I know he's not very nice, but he wouldn't try and steal something Dumbledore was keeping safe. Honestly, Hermione, you think all teachers are saints or something, snapped Ron. I'm with Harry. I wouldn't put anything past Snape. But what's he after? What's that dog guarding? Harry went to bed with his head buzzing with the same question. Neville was snoring loudly, but Harry couldn't sleep. He tried to empty his mind. He needed to sleep. He had to. He had his first Quidditch match in a few hours, but the expression on Snape's face when Harry had seen his leg wasn't easy to forget. The next morning dawned very bright and cold. The great hall was full of the delicious smell of fried sausages and the cheerful chatter of everyone looking forward to a good Quidditch match. You've got to eat some breakfast. I don't want anything. Just a bit of toast, wheedled Hermione. I'm not hungry. Harry felt terrible. In an hour's time, he'd be walking onto the field. Harry, you need your strength, said Seamus Finnegan. Seekers are always the ones who get clobbered by the other team. Thanks, Seamus, said Harry, watching Seamus pile ketchup on his sausages. By 11 o'clock, the whole school seemed to be out in the stands around the Quidditch pitch. Many students had binoculars. The seats might be raised high in the air, but it was still difficult to see what was going on sometimes. Ron and Hermione joined Neville, Seamus, and Dean, the West Ham fan, up in the top row. As a surprise for Harry, they had painted a large banner on one of the sheets Scabbers had ruined. It said Potter for President, and Dean was good at drawing, and Dean, who was good at drawing, had done a large Gryffindor lion underneath. Then Hermione had performed a tricky little charm so that the paint flashed different colors. Meanwhile, in the locker room, Harry and the rest of the team were changing into their scarlet Quidditch robes. Slytherin would be plain and green. Wood cleared his throat for silence. Okay, men, he said. And women, said Chaser, Angelina Johnson, and woman. Wood agreed. This is it. The big one, said Fred Weasley. The one we've all been waiting for, said George. We know Oliver's speech by heart, Fred told Harry. We were on the team last year. Shut up, you two, said Wood. This is the best team Gryffindor's had in years. We're going to win. I know it. He glared at them all as if to say, or else. Right, it's time. Good luck, all of you. Harry followed Fred and George out of the locker room and hoping his knees weren't going to give way. Walked onto the field to loud cheers. Madam Hooch was refereeing. She stood in the middle of the field waiting for the two teams, her broom in her hand. Now, I want a nice, fair game, all of you, she said once they were all gathered around her. Harry noticed that she seemed to be speaking particularly to the Slytherin captain, Marcus Flint, a fifth year. Harry thought Flint looked as if he had some troll blood in him. Out of the corner of his eye, he saw the fluttering banner high above, flashing Potter for president over the crowd. His heart skipped. He felt braver. Mount your brooms, please. Harry clambered onto his Nimbus 2000. Madam Hooch gave a loud blast on her silver whistle. 15 brooms rose up high into the air. They were off. And the quaff extra spurt of speed. Wham! A roar of rage echoed through the Gryffindors below. Marcus Flint had blocked Harry on purpose, and Harry's broom spun off course. Harry holding on for dear life. Foul! Screamed the Gryffindor. Madam Hooch spoke angrily to Flint and then ordered a free shot at the goalpost for Gryffindor. But in all confusion, of course, the golden snitch had disappeared from sight again. Down in the stands, Dean Thomas was yelling, "Send him off, ref! Red card!" "What are you talking about, Dean?" said Ron. Called timeout. And then he realized that his broom was completely out of his control. He couldn't turn it. He couldn't direct it at all. It was zigzagging through the air and every now and then making violent swishing movements that almost unseated him. Lee was still commentating. Slytherin in possession. Flint with the quaffle passes Spinnet, passes Bell, hit hard in the face by Bludger. Hopitz broke his nose. Only joking, Professor. Slytherin's score. Oh no. The Slytherins were cheering. No one seemed to have noticed that Harry's broom was behaving strangely. It was carrying him slowly higher away from the game, jerking and twisting as it went. "Don't know what Harry think he's doing," Hagrid mumbled. He stared through his binoculars. "If I didn't know better, I'd say he lost control of his broom. But he can't have." Suddenly, people were pointing up at Harry all over the stands. His broom had started to roll over and over with him only just managing to hold on. Then the whole crowd gasped. Harry's broom had given a wild jerk and Harry swung off it. He was now dangling from it, holding on with only one hand. "Did something happen to it when Flint blocked him?" Seamus whispered. "Can't have," Hagrid said, his voice shaking. "Can't nothing interfere with a broomstick except powerful dark magic. No kid can do that to a Nimbus 2000. At these words, Hermione seized Hagrid's binoculars, but instead of looking up at Harry, she started looking frantically at the crowd. "What are you doing?" moaned Ron, gray-faced. "I knew it," Hermione gasped. "Snape, look." Ron grabbed the binoculars. Snape was in the middle of the stands opposite of them. He had his eyes fixed on Harry and was muttering nonstop under his breath. "He's doing something, jinxing the broom," said Hermione. "What should we do?" "Leave it to me." Before Ron could say another word, Hermione had disappeared. Ron turned the binoculars back on Harry. His broom was vibrating so hard it was almost impossible for him to hang on much longer. The whole crowd was on its feet, watching terrified as the Weasleys flew up to try and pull Harry safely onto one of their brooms, but it was no good. Every time they got near him, the broom would jump higher still. They dropped lower and circled beneath him, obviously hoping to catch him if he fell. Marcus Flint seized the quaffle and scored 5 times without anyone noticing. "Come on, Hermione," Ron muttered desperately. Hermione had fought her way across to the stand where Snape stood and was now racing along the row behind him. She didn't even stop to say sorry as she knocked Professor Quirrell headfirst into the row in front. Reaching Snape, she crouched down, pulled out her wand, and whispered a few well-chosen words. Bright blue flames shot from her wand onto the hem of Snape's robes. It took perhaps 30 seconds for Snape to realize that he was on fire. A sudden yelp told her she had done her job. Scooping the fire off him into a little jar in her pocket, she scrambled back along the row. Snape would never know what had happened. It was enough. Up in the air, Harry was suddenly able to clamber back onto his broom. "Neville, you can look," Ron said. Neville had been sobbing into Hagrid's jacket for the last 5 minutes. Harry was speeding toward the ground when the crowd saw him clap his hand to his mouth and thought as though he was about to be sick. He hit the field on all fours, coughed, and something gold fell into his hands. "I've got the snitch," he shouted, waving it above his head, and the game ended in complete confusion. "He didn't catch it. He nearly swallowed it." Flint was still howling 20 minutes later, but it made no difference. Harry hadn't broken any rules, and Lee Jordan was still happily shouting the results. Gryffindor had won by 170 points to 60. Harry heard none of this, though. He was being made a cup of strong tea back in Hagrid's hut with Ron and Hermione. "It was Snape," Ron was explaining. "Hermione and I saw him. He was cursing your broomstick, muttering he wouldn't take his eyes off you." "Rubbish," said Hagrid, who hadn't heard a word of what had gone on next to him in the stands. "Why would Snape do something like that?" Harry, Ron, and Hermione looked at one another, wondering what to tell him. Harry decided on the truth. "I found out something about him," he told Hagrid. "He tried to get past that 3-headed dog on Halloween. It bit him. We think he was trying to steal whatever it's guarding." Hagrid dropped the teapot. "What do you know about Fluffy?" he said. "Fluffy? Yeah, he's mine. Bought him off a Greek chappie I met in the pub last year. I've lent him to Dumbledore to guard the—" "Yes," said Harry eagerly. "Now don't ask me any more," said Hagrid gruffly. "That's top secret, that is. But Snape's trying to steal it." "Rubbish," said Hagrid again. "Snape's a Hogwarts teacher. He'd do nothing of the sort." "So why did he just try and kill Harry?" cried Hermione. The afternoon's events certainly seemed to have changed her mind about Snape. "I know a jinx when I will get to chapter 12 in just a moment. I just need to get a drink because my throat is starting to get dry." So I will be quick intermission. Oh, back. It's hard to get off this floor. Yes, I'm drinking it right out of the bottle. Ooh, excuse me. Quick intermission real quick. Yeah, in chapter 11, in that one part where she was telling Jordan to, like, basically shut up, she acted like a mother hen, which is actually pretty sweet. God rest her soul. Because Dame Maggie Smith had passed away back in September. God rest her soul. She had fought so hard, and mind you, while she was filming Harry Potter, she was battling some sort of cancer, if I'm correct. And she fought so hard, she survived that once, and she had passed away back in September. If I remember correctly, it was September 24th, if I am correct. No, September 27th. She had passed away on September 27th. May God rest her soul. She was a great actress. She played her role in Harry Potter so good. She was a motherly figure to everybody who had watched Harry Potter. And she was great. She is up with her best friends now from Harry Potter. So, yeah. Now to get into chapter 12, The Mirror of Erised. This was one chapter that I could never read in public when I would read this. It's because I was reading this while I was at college. And I could not read this chapter because this chapter has made me tear up and cry because it is really heart-wrenching and really heartbreaking. So, yeah, this is gonna be, if I cry, I cry, because this is very emotional. Okay, The Mirror of Erised. Christmas was coming. One morning in mid-December, Hogwarts woke to find itself covered in several feet of snow. The lake froze solid, and the Weasley twins were punished for bewitching several snowballs so that they followed Quirrell around, bouncing off the back of his turban. The few elves that managed to battle their way through the stormy sky to deliver mail had to be nursed back to health by Hagrid before they could fly off again. No one could wait for the holidays to start while the While the Gryffindor common room and the great hall had roaring fires, the drafty corridors had. He was looking over at Harry as he spoke. Crabbe and Goyle chuckled. Harry, who was measuring out powdered spine of lionfish, ignored them. Malfoy had been even more unpleasant than usual since the Quidditch match. Disgusted that the Slither that the I cannot speak tonight. I'm sorry. Disgusted that the Slytherins had lost, he had tried to get everyone laughing at a wide-mouthed tree frog that tree frog would be replacing Harry as a seeker next. Then he'd realize that nobody found this funny because they were all so impressed at the way Harry had managed to stay on his bucking broomstick. So Malfoy, jealous and angry, had gone back to taunting Harry about having no proper family. It was true that Harry wasn't going back to Privet Drive for Christmas. Professor McGonagall had come around the week before making a list of students who would be staying for the holidays, and Harry had signed up at once. He didn't feel sorry for himself at all. This would probably be the best Christmas he'd ever had. Ron and his brothers were staying too because Mr. and Mrs. Weasley were going to Romania to visit Charlie. When they left the dungeons at the end of Potions, they found a large fir tree blocking the corridor ahead, two enormous feet sticking out the bottom, and a loud puffing sound told them that Hagrid was behind it. "Hi, Hagrid. Want any help?" Ron asked, sticking his head through the branches. "No, I'm all right, thanks, Ron. Would you mind moving out of the way?" Came Malfoy's cold drawl from behind them. "Are you trying to earn some extra money, Weasley, hoping to be a gamekeeper yourself when you leave Hogwarts? I suppose that hut of Hagrid's must seem like a palace compared to what your family's used to." Ron dived at Malfoy just as Snape came up the stairs. "Weasley!" Harry, Ron let go. Ron let go of the front of Malfoy's robes. "He was provoked, Professor Snape," said Hagrid, sticking his huge hairy face out from behind the tree. "Malfoy was insulting his family. Be that as it may, fighting where Professor McGonagall and Professor Flitwick were busy with their Christmas decorations." "Ah, Hagrid, the last tree. Put it in the far corner, would you?" The hall looked spectacular. Festoons of holly and mistletoe hung all around the walls, and no less than 12 towering Christmas trees around the room, some sparkling with tiny icicles, some glittering with hundreds of candles. "How many days you got left until your holidays?" Hagrid asked. "Just one," said Hermione, and that reminds me, Harry, Ron, we've got half an hour before lunch. We should be in the library." "Oh yeah, you're in wizardry." And then, of course, there was the sheer size of the library: tens of thousands of books, thousands of shelves, hundreds of narrow rows. Hermione took out a list of subjects and titles she had decided to search while Ron strode off down a row of books and started pulling them off the shelves at random. Harry wandered over to the restricted section. He had been wondering for a while if Flamel wasn't somewhere in there. Unfortunately, you needed a specially signed note from one of the teachers to look in any of the restricted books. He knew he'd never get one. These were the books containing powerful dark magic never taught at Hogwarts and only read by older students studying advanced defense against the dark arts. "What are you looking for, boy?" "Nothing," said Harry. Madam Pince, the librarian, brandished a feather, dusting at him. "You better get out, then. Go on, out." Wishing he'd been a little, Wishing he'd been a bit quicker at thinking up some story, Harry left the library. He, Ron, and Hermione had already agreed they'd better not ask Madam Pince where they could find Flamel. They were sure she'd be able to tell them, but they couldn't risk Snape hearing what they were up to. Harry waited outside the corridor to see if the other two had found anything, but he wasn't very hopeful. They had been looking for 2 weeks after all, but as they had odd moments between lessons, it wasn't surprising. They'd found nothing. What they really needed was a nice long search without Madam Pince breathing down their necks. 5 minutes later, Ron and Hermione joined them, shaking their heads. They went off to lunch. You will keep looking while I'm away, won't you?" said Hermione, "and send me an owl if you find anything." "And you could ask your parents if they know who Flamel is," said Ron. "It'd be safe to ask them." "Very safe, as they're both dentists," said Hermione. Once the holidays had started, Ron and Harry were having too good a time to think much about Flamel. They had the dormitory to themselves, and the common room was far emptier than usual, so they were able to get good armchairs by the fire. They sat by the hour, eating anything they could spear on a toasting fork, bread, English muffins, marshmallows, and plotting ways of getting Malfoy expelled, which were fun to talk about even if they wouldn't work. Ron also started teaching Harry wizard chess. This was exactly like Muggle chess, except that the figures were alive, which made it a lot like this directing troops in battle. Ron's set was very old and battered, like everything else he owned. It had once belonged to someone else in his family, in this case his grandfather. However, old chessmen weren't a drawback at all. Ron knew them so well, he never had trouble getting them to do what he wanted. Harry played with chessmen Seamus Finnegan had lent him, and they didn't trust him at all. He wasn't a very good player yet, and they kept shouting different bits of advice at him, which was confusing. Don't send me there. You can't see his knight. Can't you see his knight? Send him. We can afford to lose him. On Christmas Eve, Harry went to bed looking forward to the next day for the food and the fun, but not expecting any presents at all. When he woke early in the morning, however, the first thing he saw was a small pile of packages at the foot of his bed. "Merry Christmas," said Ron sleepily, as Harry scrambled out of bed and pulled on his bathrobe. "You too?" said Harry. "Will you look at this? I've got some presents." "What did you expect? Turnips?" said Ron, turning to his own pile, which was a lot bigger than Harry's. Harry picked up the top parcel. It was wrapped in thick brown paper, and scrawled across it was, "To Harry from Hagrid." Inside was a roughly cut wooden flute. Hagrid had obviously whittled it himself. Harry blew it. It sounded a bit like an owl. A second very small parcel contained a note. "We received your message and enclosed your Christmas present from Uncle Vernon and Aunt Petunia." Taped to the note was a 50-pence piece. "That's friendly," said Harry. Ron was fascinated by the 50 pence. "Weird," he said. "What a shape. This is money?" "You can keep it," said Harry, laughing at how pleased Ron was. "Hagrid and my aunt and uncle. So who sent these?" "I think I know who that one's from," said Ron, turning a bit pink and pointing at a very lumpy parcel. "My mum. I told her you didn't expect any presents, and oh no," he groaned, "she's made you a Weasley sweater." Harry had torn open the parcel to find a thick hand-knitted sweater in emerald green and a large box of homemade fudge. "Every year she makes us a sweater," and said Ron, unwrapping his own, "and mine's always maroon." "That's really nice for her," said Harry, trying the fudge, which was very tasty. His next present also contained candy, a large box of chocolate frogs from Hermione. This only left one parcel. Harry picked it up and felt it. It was very light. He unwrapped it. Something fluid and silvery gray went slithering to the floor where it lay in gleaming folds. Ron gasped. "I've heard of those," he said in a hushed voice, dropping the box of every flavor beans he'd gotten from Hermione. "If that's what I think it is, they're really rare and really valuable." "What is it?" Harry picked up the shining silvery cloth off the floor. It was strange to the touch, like water woven into material. "It's an invisibility cloak," said Ron, a look of awe on his face. "I'm sure it is. Try it on." Harry threw the cloak around his shoulders, and Ron gave a yell. "It is! Look down!" Harry looked down at his feet, but they were gone. He dashed to the mirror. Sure enough, his reflection looked back at him, just his head suspended in mid-air, his body completely invisible. He pulled the cloak over his head, and his reflection vanished completely. "There's a note," said Ron suddenly. A note fell out of it. Harry pulled off the cloak and seized the letter. Written in narrow, loopy writing he had never seen before were the following words: "Your father left this in my possession before he died. It is time it was returned to you. Use it well. A very Merry Christmas to you." There was no signature. Well, sorry about this. My phone keeps going off. This is why I have my phone on silent, but just the light of it bugs me. There was no signature. Harry stared at the note. Ron was admiring the cloak. "I'd give anything for one of these," he said. "Anything. What's the matter?" "Nothing," said Harry. He felt very strange. Who had sent the cloak? Had it really once belonged to his father? Before he could say or think anything else, the dormitory door was flung open and Fred and George Weasley bounded in. Harry stuffed the cloak quickly out of sight. He didn't feel like sharing it with anyone else. "Merry Christmas." "Hey, look, Harry's got a Weasley sweater too." Fred and George were wearing blue sweaters, one with a large yellow F on it, the other a G. Harry's is better than ours, though," said Fred, holding up Harry's sweater. "She obviously makes more of an effort if you're not family." "Why aren't you wearing yours, Ron?" George demanded. "Come on, get it on. They're lovely and warm. I hate maroon." Ron moaned half-heartedly as he pulled it over his head. "You haven't gotten a letter on yours," George observed. "I suppose she thinks you don't forget your name, but we're not stupid. We know we're called Gred and Forge." "What's all this noise?" Percy Weasley stuck his head through the door, looking disapproving. He had clearly gotten halfway through unwrapping his presents as he too carried a lumpy sweater over his arm, which Fred seized. "P for prefect. Get it on, Percy. Come on, we're all wearing ours. Even Harry got one." "I don't want," said Percy thickly as the twins forced the sweater over his head, knocking his glasses askew. "And you're not sitting with the prefects today either," said George. "Christmas is a time for family." They frog marched Percy from the room, his arms pinned to his side by his sweater. Harry had never in all his life had such a Christmas dinner. 100 fat roast turkeys, mountains of roast and boiled potatoes, platters of chipolatas, tureens of buttered peas, silver boats of thick, rich gravy and cranberry sauce, and stacks of wizard crackers every few feet along the table. These fantastic party favors were nothing like the feeble muggle ones that the Dursleys usually bought, with their little plastic toys and their flimsy paper hats inside. Harry pulled a wizard cracker with Fred, and it didn't just bang. It went off with a blast like a cannon and engulfed them all in a cloud of blue smoke, while from the inside exploded a rear admiral's hat and several live white mice. Up at the high table, Dumbledore had swapped his pointed wizard's hat for a flowered bonnet, and was chuckling merrily at a joke Professor Flitwick had just read him. Flaming Christmas puddings followed the turkey. Percy nearly broke his teeth on a silver sickle embedded in his slice. Harry watched Hagrid get redder and redder in the face as he called for more wine, finally kissing Professor McGonagall on the cheek, who, to Harry's amazement, giggled and blushed, her top hat lopsided. When Harry finally left the table, he was laden down with a stack of things out of the crackers, including a pack of non-explodable luminous balloons, a grow-your-own warts kit, and his own. So he climbed into bed. Was he free to think about it? The invisibility cloak and whoever had sent it. Ron, full of turkey and cake, and with nothing mysterious to bother him, fell asleep almost as soon as he'd drawn the curtains of his four-poster. Harry leaned over the side of his own bed and pulled the cloak out from under it. His father's. This had been his father's. He let the material flow over his hands, smoother than silk, light as air. "Use it well," the note had said. He had to try it now. He slipped out of bed, wrapped the cloak around himself. Looking down at his legs, he saw only moonlight and shadows. It was a very funny feeling. Use it well. Suddenly, Harry felt wide awake. The whole of Hogwarts was open to him in this cloak. Excitement flooded through him as he stood there in the dark and silence. He could go anywhere. He could go anywhere in this. Any thought of faint whispering was coming from the books, as though they knew something was there who shouldn't be. He had to start somewhere. Setting the lamp down carefully on the floor, he looked along the bottom shelf for an interesting-looking book. A large black and silver volume caught his eye. He pulled it out with difficulty because it was very heavy, and balancing it on his knee, let it fall open. A piercing, blood-curdling spot as Filch and Snape came around the corner ahead. They couldn't see him, of course, but it was a narrow corridor, and if they came much nearer, they'd knock right into him. The cloak didn't stop him from being solid. He backed away as quietly as he could. A door stood ajar to his left. It was his only hope. He squeezed through it, holding his breath, trying not to move it, and to his relief, he managed to get inside the room without their noticing anything. They walked straight past, and Harry leaned against the wall, breathing deeply, listening to their footsteps dying away. That had been close, very close. It was a few seconds before he noticed anything about the room he had hidden in. It looked like an unused classroom. The dark shapes of desks and chairs were piled against the walls, and there was an upturned waste paper basket, but propped up against the wall, facing him, was something that didn't look as if it belonged there. Something that looked as if someone had just put it there to keep it out of the way. It was a magnificent mirror as high as the ceiling, with an ornate gold frame standing on two clawed feet. There was an inscription carved around the top. Irised straw eru ot ubi kafru ot on woshi. His panic fading now that there was no sound of Filch or Snape, Harry moved near to the mirror, wanting to look at himself but see no reflection again. He stepped in front of it. He had to clap his hands to his mouth to stop him from screaming. He whirled around, his heart pounding far more furiously than when the book had screamed, for he had not seen only himself in the mirror. Oh, this is where it gets emotional for me. Because I wish they had put this in the movie. I love this part of the book. This is one of my favorite parts of the Sorcerer's Stone book. I have a favorite part in every single book I have read from the Harry Potter series. This one is my favorite. Because it's very heart-wrenching. So, I'm legit crying over here. Oh. Crap. I have to freaking see where I was now. Okay, I stopped. Okay, I'm right there. Okay. Right at the top of the page. For he had not seen only himself in the mirror, but a whole crowd of people standing right behind him. But the room was empty. Breathing very fast, he turned slowly back to the mirror. There he was, reflected in it, white and scared looking, and there reflected behind him were at least 10 others. Harry looked over his shoulder, but still no one was there. Or were they all invisible too? Was he in fact in a room full of invisible people, and this mirror's trick was that it reflected them, invisible or not? Oh. 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 I just love this part. I just love this chapter in general. He looked in the mirror again. A woman standing right behind his reflection was smiling at him and waving. He reached out a hand and felt air behind him. If she was really there, he'd touch her. Their reflections were so close together, but he felt only air. She and the others existed only in the mirror. Harry feared most was that he might not be able to find the mirror room again. With Ron covered in the cloak, too, they had to walk much more slowly than the next night. They tried retracing Harry's routes from the library, wandering around the dark passageways for nearly an hour. I'm freezing, said Ron. Let's forget it and go back. No, Ron. No, Harry hissed. I know it's here somewhere. They passed the ghost of a tall witch gliding in the opposite direction, but saw no one else. Just as Ron started moaning that his feet were dead with cold, Harry spotted the suit of armor. It's with Ron in front of the mirror. He couldn't see his family anymore, just Ron in his paisley pajamas. Ron, though, was staring transfixed at his image. Look at me, he said. Can you see all your family standing around you? No, I'm alone, but I'm different. I look older, and I'm head boy. What? I am. I'm wearing the badge like Bill used to, and I'm holding the house cup and the Quidditch cup. I'm Quidditch captain, too. Ron tore his eyes away from the splendid sight to look excitedly at Harry. Do you think this mirror shows the future? How can it? All my family are dead. Let me have another look. You had it to yourself all last night. Give me a bit more time. You're only holding the Quidditch cup. What's interesting about that? I want to see my parents. Don't push me. A sudden noise outside the corridor put an end to their discussion. They hadn't realized how loudly they had been talking. Quick! Ron threw the cloak back over them as the luminous eyes of Mrs. Norris came round the corner. Ron and Harry stood quite still, both thinking the same thing. Did the cloak work on cats? After what seemed an age, she turned and left. This isn't safe. She might have gone for Filch. I bet she heard us. Come on. And Ron pulled Harry out of the room. The snow still hadn't melted the next morning. Want to play chess, Harry? Said Ron. No. Why don't you go down and visit Hagrid? No, you go. I know what you're thinking about, Harry. That mirror. Don't go back tonight. Why not? I don't know. I've just got a bad feeling about it. And anyway, you've had too many close shaves already. Filch, Snape, and Mrs. Norris are wandering around. So what if they can't see you? What if they walk into you? What if you knock something over? You sound like Hermione. I'm serious, Harry. Don't go. But Harry only had one thought in his head, which was to get back in front of the mirror, and Ron wasn't going to stop him. The third night he found his way more quickly than before. He was walking so fast he knew he was making more noise than was wise, but he didn't meet anyone. And there were his mother and father smiling at him again, and one of his grandfathers nodding happily. Harry sank down to sit on the floor in front of the mirror. There was nothing to stop him from staying here all night with his family. Nothing at all. Except, so back again, Harry. Harry felt as though his insides had turned to ice. He looked behind him. Sitting on one of the desks by the wall was none other than Albus Dumbledore. Harry must have walked straight past that he was smiling. So, said Dumbledore, slipping off the desk to sit on the floor with Harry, you, like hundreds before you, have discovered the delights of the mirror of Erised. I didn't know it was called that, sir. But I expect you've realized by now what it does. It shows me my family, and it shows your friend Ron himself as head boy. How did you know? I don't need a cloak to become invisible, said Dumbledore gently. Now, can you think what the mirror of Erised shows us all? Harry shook his head. Let me explain. The happiest man on earth would be able to use the mirror of Erised like a normal mirror, that is. He would look into it and see himself exactly as he is. Does that help? Harry thought. Then he said slowly, it shows us what we want. Whatever we want. Yes and no, said Dumbledore quietly. It shows us nothing more or less than the deepest, most desperate desire of our hearts. You, who have never known your family, see them standing around you. Ronald Weasley, who has always been overshadowed by his brother, sees himself standing alone, the best of all of them. However, this mirror will give us neither knowledge or truth. Men have wasted away before it, entranced by what they have seen, or been driven mad, not knowing if what it shows is real or even possible. The mirror will be moved to a new home tomorrow, Harry. And I ask you not to go looking for it again. If you ever do run across it, you will now be prepared. It does not do to dwell on dreams and forget to live. Remember that. Now, why don't you put that admirable cloak back on and get off the bed?" Harry stood up. "Sir, Professor Dumbledore, can I ask you something?" "Obviously, you've just done so," Dumbledore smiled. "You may ask me one more thing, however. What do you see when you look in the mirror?" "I I see myself holding a pair of thick woolen socks." Harry stared. "One can never have enough socks," said Dumbledore. "Another Christmas has come and gone, and I didn't get a single pair. People would insist on giving me books." It was only when he was back in bed that it struck Harry that Dumbledore might not have been quite truthful. But then he thought, as he shoved Scabbers off his pillow, it had been quite a personal question. And that is the end of the 2 chapters that I am reading tonight. Another stream I will be reading chapter 13, Nicholas Flamel, and 14, Norbert the Norwegian Ridgeback. So, yeah, that was an emotional roller coaster for that chapter, The Mirror of Erised. Because for the first time in basically his whole life, Harry had seen his family. And that is an emotional roller coaster. That always gets to me. Because every time I see the movie, it's just like he only sees his mom and his dad in the mirror. Yet in the book, he sees his family, his mom, his dad, and other people behind him. Yeah, this was definitely a longer stream. Almost 2 hours. But, yeah. That is all for this stream, and I will be back to streaming on Saturday, and I will give a room tour. Hopefully, I'll be able to do it in the afternoon, hopefully, or maybe at night, because I do not know if my family and I are going to church on Saturday. We have to see what comes. We have to see the day. But, yeah, I am glad you made it to the stream. Have a good rest of your night at work. And I will be streaming on Saturday and giving you a room tour. So, yeah. Oh, and like I was saying in the beginning of the stream, I don't know if you'll like go back and watch the beginning of the stream because I was saying some stuff in the beginning of the stream, but apparently YouTube added this feature where now I can share my screen. I can share my screen now on live. So I don't have to use any other open source. So that's a good thing. I can share my screen whenever I want on YouTube. You as well. Have a good night, Lucas. Bye.